Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for being here for our afternoon program. We're going to start with prayer. I will give some announcements, and then we will turn over the program to the Health Ministries Department. So please bow your heads and close your eyes. Dear kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, even though it is rainy outside, we thank you for keeping us dry, warm, and protected while we congregate here in your sanctuary. Lord, we thank you for everyone who was able to make it out. We thank you for this Sabbath day, this blessed day of rest. We thank you for the presenter who is here to teach us about financial basics. We thank you for everyone who will be participating. Lord, may we take this information and apply it to our lives and share this information with others. Be with those who are less fortunate than us, oh God, and we thank you for the wonderful worship service we had earlier, International Women's Day of Prayer. So we thank you for all you do. In your name I say this prayer, amen. So the announcements that I have coming from the AYM department are essentially the schedule for the month of March, and then one set of unfortunate, sad news from the conference, from the Youth Ministries Department. So as we may or may not be aware, this afternoon's program is Financial Basics for Everyone. It is a two-part program. The first part is starting right now, and our second part will be tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. We have our guest presenter, Mr. Linville Morris, who is right here in the front. I'm sure Sister Carrington will give him a proper introduction when the time is due. We thank him for being here this afternoon and sharing his time with us to provide this information for everyone. That is today's program. For next Sabbath, the afternoon program will be hosted by our Community Services Department. If you were here a couple months ago, they did a Bible Bowl game. They will be doing another one. That's next Sabbath afternoon. I'm not sure of the time. Is Sister Nellie in the room? Okay. Next Sabbath afternoon will be another Bible Bowl game. Then on March 16th, there will not be an AY or afternoon program, but what we will be doing is Global Youth Day. Every year on the third Sabbath of March, it is Global Youth Day that is assigned by the General Conference. It happens all over the globe, where the youth and young adults they come together to go out and do outreach in their communities. This year's theme is Show Up in the Cities. So what we will be doing is going around to our local laundromats. Maybe if we can get in contact with some of our neighbors on the block, we'll be handing out some small laundry supplies, mini soaps, fabric softeners, dryer sheets, and cards to local laundromats so that it can help offset the cost to some of their laundry being done at local laundromats. If you would like to participate, please let me know. We are accepting funds. We're accepting additional small laundry products that we can help as many people as possible. These things are expensive. Laundromat costs have gone up. So if you would like to help with this outreach initiative for this year, please see me, see Elder Perry, anybody on my team. This is in 2 weeks. So we're actively collecting donations and mini laundry supplies so that we can help those in the community with their laundry services. That is March 16th. Then on March 23rd, it will be the Pathfinder induction service that will take place here in the sanctuary at 4 o'clock, and they will transition into a concert to help raise money for the Gillette International Camporee at 5 o'clock. So please be here to support our Living Flames Pathfinder Club, our director, Elizabeth Perry. If you need any questions or want to know how to support, please speak to her. She is in the back. Please support our Pathfinders on this initiative to get to Wyoming in August, and our adventurers as well. And then at the end of the month, March 30th, will be our Let's Talk About It for the month of March. where the discussion topic is, what does it mean to enjoy Jesus? And how do we go about accomplishing that? What does it mean to enjoy Jesus will be our Let's Talk About It discussion for the month of March. It will start at 4 p.m. So those are all the announcements for the month of March. And now the unfortunate sad news that comes from the Northeastern Conference Youth Ministries Department. So we are asking that we keep the family of Kathy Davis in prayer. Kathy Davis was our Northeastern Conference Youth Ministries Department Administrative Assistant, and she passed away on Tuesday. We're not sure right now what happened. We received a letter coming from Director Paula Olivier and the officers of Northeastern Conference Youth Ministries Department. She had 2 young daughters, so please, we're very saddened by this news. Kathy was a very sweet person, the administrative assistant of our youth department, so please keep her family, her daughters in prayer as they mourn her loss, as we all mourn the loss of Kathy Davis. That is my announcements for this afternoon, and I am going to turn the program over to Sister Carrington. Kathy Davis. Yes, she worked for Northeastern Conference as a Youth Ministries Department Administrative Assistant. She passed away on Tuesday.
Thank you, dear Sister Odochi Daniel. She's doing a wonderful job, is she not? She's keeping us engaged and really bringing AY to the forefront as an important part of the Sabbath day worship service. So here I am as a representative for Health Ministries, partnering, of course, with the AY, and we cannot stress this enough as part of the 10 laws of health. When it talks about temperance and trust, we need to, and rest, we need to make sure that we have things in order. The Lord is all about order. Plan, prepare, and pray. That's our motto for this year, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And by doing so, we plan, we can prepare for different situations that happen in this life, and pray that on the plan that we have. And so as we move forward throughout 2024, we all have the opportunity to make small changes and have a great impact on ourselves and on women and the families that we have and our friends. This is Women's Month, March, and women are most likely in charge of the finances of their home and that of their family. So it's important for us to make sure that we have the tools to do what we need to do and have the knowledge as well to do so. And if you don't have the knowledge, know where you can ask in order to get the right information for yourself and your family and your friends. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce this program to all of you, Financial Basics for Everyone. And our presenter today for part 1 is Brother Linval Morris. He is a financial services professional for New York Life. And I met Linval through volleyball. Yes. So volleyball is where I first met Brother Morris, and he was the coach for our Bronx Manhattan team a few years ago. And since then, we have been keeping in contact, and I've utilized his services during the evangelistic series last year. And I plan on using him again, his services again, if we so have that opportunity to share the knowledge that he has with our community, family, and friends. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Brother Linval Morris, and he will come forward and share with you some of the aspects of what he believes financial basics for everyone is, and certainly you're welcome to ask questions as well. Again, this is part one. Part two is going to be tomorrow as a Zoom meeting, and I will provide that information to you at the appropriate time. At this time, Brother Linval. And he does come from far. I wouldn't say foreign, but far.
Far. So you can't do before I do, okay? Plan to stay until I'm done. All right, and thank you, Sylvia, for inviting me. Ahora. Thank you, Sister Sylvia, for inviting me. And I just want to commend the AY department for having a traditional AY program. If you go around the churches these days, you notice that AY is kind of dying out in our churches, and that is sad. I am in the Southern New England Conference, and I can't remember the last time that we had an AY where it's a church worship session for the Sabbath. I know the young people have their thing in their group, call it AY, and they'll have it like maybe in the summer, it's done. And I think that the time they should have it. In the winter, they have just a few meetings where they have their own discussion, not just church gathering. So I'm happy to be a part of a traditional AY program this evening, and I must commend the church and commend the AY lead for putting this together. And Pastor, if you're here, you're doing a good job. The pastor over there? I think I met you once. I remember the face. So I just congrats for keeping this together, as a part of Sabbath is worship. No, I heard Sister Sylvia mention something, and I thought the men would protest. She said the women are in charge of the finances of the home. Wow, ladies. You take that one. Yeah, I probably can somewhat agree, because when I look in the congregation, how many men are here? For a program like this, I see only ladies, and I am in the financial market a lot. I market financial services to families, and most times, in fact, the ladies are the ones that actually make the decision. They're the ones more conscious of putting away stuff, plan and prepare. Things I don't know what happened to our men these days, but sometimes I wonder. I am really disappointed with the way we treat finance for family. And I think they can't hear me. Probably need some more volume in the mic then. So I think that's better now. Yes, so I was saying that I'm disappointed with, the way the men treat finances in the family. Don't care, leave it for the ladies, whatever happens, and sometimes I get angry with them, talking to them. I believe you. Anyway, this evening, we're going to talk a little bit about basic finance planning. Wow. Put in my... All right. I have to remember this. All right, so we're going to be talking about basics of financial planning. Some people might think that, I've heard this over and over, that because Jesus is coming soon, we probably don't need to put all of these long-term plans in place. And I also heard the idea from God's people that whatever happens to me, God will take care. I've spoken to Seventh-day Adventists who I think would know better. And they told me that if anything happens to them, God will take care of their family. But I always refer to the Bible when it comes on to answering these statements. For example, and I think it was the memory text for last week, Sabbath, quarterly, for those of us who are familiar with the quarterly. It is Psalm 90, verse 12. And the Bible says what? Teach us to number our days and to apply your hearts unto wisdom. And implicit in the text is the very idea of planning. The mere fact that you're conscious of the fact that you're not going to be around for a long time, or might not be around for as long as you want, it's going to direct you to make plans, okay? And have a valuable life. The other one I always go to is Proverbs 6:06. That's my favorite. They go to the ant thou sluggard. Consider your ways and be wise. And I don't know if you ever take time out to look into the life of an ant. It is says that they plan meticulously, especially for times when they cannot go out and gather food. They prepare food for the winter. They will come together and do stuff, move things that seem impossible to move, because they unite and they plan and they prepare. And God and the Bible is saying that we should take lessons from that as God's people. We should go to them, consider ways, and be wise. See, we're going to get into some basic stuff about financial planning. I will be conscious of the fact that it is still the Sabbath, all right? And there's some stuff we probably will not want to get into. We'll have tomorrow, or if we are here until the sunset, then we can probably get into some of those stuff, all right? Because I'm not selling anything, okay? I'm giving you some basic knowledge to make your lives better as God's people. So I'm not selling anything, all right? And I don't want to get into products, all right? Unless, like I said, we're here until after the sunset, then we can probably get into some of those details as it relates to product. But I'm just going to give general and broad concept as it relates to helping us to be prepared financially. All right, I'm going to start with a pyramid that we use at New York Life to help people to plan properly and to prepare for their financial future. And it's you can see it up there, and if it's big enough that you can read it, but at the top it says, first protect what matters most, then build toward financial success. First protect what matters most, then build towards financial success. And we believe that your financial planning should look like the pyramid, where the foundation is broad enough so that it sits steady enough. It's like if you're constructing a building, you want to make sure that the foundation is sturdy enough, is strong enough. And once that happens, then you can build. You can go on top as high up as you want to. We don't encourage to start from the top down, all right, because that is surely going to fall. So we have some concepts that will help you to start at the proper place. And the first one I'm going to be looking into is what you call defensive objectives. All right? Defensive objectives. And what those are, the first one is protect what you earn. Okay? Protect what you earn. And what do I mean by that? Is the fact, okay, so a lot of people earn, and there is no way, or there's nothing put in place to protect your earning. Now, I want you to talk a little bit, if you don't mind. What are ways that you can protect your earnings? What are measures you can take to protect your earnings? Huh? Savings. Okay? Investments. Huh? I didn't hear that. Invest. Okay. What again? We're missing a key one though. We're missing a key one. Temperance is good. What is the key one? How do you protect your earning? How do you track your earning? What you put in place to make sure that you're spending correctly and in the budget? You budget so that you don't spend widely and carelessly. You spend within a confined way. If you stick to your budget, so when you earn your dollar, best thing to do is to budget around what you are earning, so that you don't overspend. Okay. All right. So that's one key thing to do, and that is why we have so many people indebted today, because there is no budget, there is no guide as to how they spend their money. And therefore we end up in all kinds of financial places that we don't want to be. So the first thing, we protect what you earn.
What kind of budget? What's on a budget?
Huh?
What's on the budget?
What's on the budget?
Yeah.
Well, a budget basically, you're asking me, you're asking.
I'm asking you.
Okay, so your budget. We all know what a budget is, right? So your budget is basically going to be all your expenditures.
Everything.
And your debt.
And your debts. Oh.
So you're going to make sure that you budget in a way how much you can spend this month, what you're going to spend on, and basically what you owe, you're going to try to keep pace with your debt in your budget, if you have those. Okay?
So that's everything that we spend on a monthly basis.
Well, yeah.
That's subscriptions, that's gas and electric, that's toll, that's everything.
Anything that you have to do to get by. Basic things that you have to do to get by, and you can also include vacation. Which doesn't come like often. Some stuff that is gonna be like once a year or somewhere thereabout. Okay, right. Okay, so are we clear on that? Are any more questions surrounding that area? So we first start with whatever your lifestyle is. Make sure that you have a budget that your earnings can accommodate. Okay? So that's how you're gonna start protecting your earnings. Now, protect what you own. Protect what you own. What do you think that means?
You have to have a homeowner insurance.
What about that?
Like if you have a house, you're supposed to have a homeowner insurance. If anything happens, then they can come in and help you so you don't lose what you have.
Great.
Yeah, that's one.
What else do we own that we need to protect? Your car. Okay. What else do
Your body,
your health? I want to say that.
your health, because if you have an accident, you can have insurance, where if you have an accident, you're constantly paid even though you're home. Yes.
You protect your asset. You protect your asset, and you protect your health. Someone says that your health is your greatest wealth. Okay, because if you don't have health, there's no earning power. Okay, so you protect your health. Make sure that you have health insurance. Make sure that you do your regular checks at the doctor. Spend money on protecting your health. If you don't spend it that way, you're going to spend it. No, you're going to spend it trying to correct your health. So you want to be proactive, not to be reactive, okay? What you own, protect what you owe. What does that mean? Protect what you owe. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Paying off your debt on time, making sure you pay off your debt. Protect.
Okay.
Oh, protect what you owe or own?
Owe.
Oh,
Protect what you owe.
yeah.
Okay.
Making sure you pay off your debt, to me.
Okay. Any other thought in that? Protect what you owe.
She'll go. I'll stay on this side.
I'm just trying to come to an understanding of what that could mean, but is it possible it means like protecting your credit, like making choices that would keep your credit in a good position?
Okay. That could be a way to look at it. That could be a way to look at it. I see a hand on there.
Well, in my opinion, when you said protect what you owe, I live on a budget.
Okay.
I do not
Oh.
do anything without my budget. So by that I mean, I'm on my credit card. I do not spend what I cannot pay at the end of the month.
Okay.
So for me, I am not paying an interest to the bank or to whoever owns that credit card, because every month I make sure I could pay what I use on that card.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why and he says pay your debt on time. That's protecting what you owe, so you don't incur other costs in the form of interest.
There was something I was watching the other day on the TV with budgeting, just like what you said. And if I don't know if this is true or it's going to come true, that the time is coming when we won't be using any dollars no more. So what is going to take the place of this thing?
I think that's for another discussion. I cannot answer that.
Oh,
I don't know what's going to take the place of that, but if there's ever a time when that happens when we're here, I'm sure that there's going to be something in place for us to get by.
yeah, but with the technology that is going on today, you have to realize that what used to work 5 years ago not working no more. Look at what I'm sitting here and somebody call me and I tell the person I'm at my home, they know I'm sitting right here in church. So technology and the every year it just moving up and up. So we have to have an idea. People who have thousands and millions of dollars put down. I'm not taking up your time. I used to take care of this lady, and she had about almost $100,000 hide up under her bed, and she wouldn't move it out till it stayed and rotten. So the bank told her if she had bring it to them, they would reimburse her back because she didn't use it. It's just that it's spoiled. So I think something like that with the dollars, people who have it pack up, because that is, they don't value nothing.
All right, so we're going to get to that. We're going to be talking about keeping pace with inflation. We're going to get to that. Pastor, I think you had to bring up.
In response to her question, and I don't have all the answer either, but we are, seems like we're moving in that direction already. And I've been to a couple places where they would not take my cash money. And all they would take was a credit card. See, so it happened to me right here in New York City at a sporting event where, as a matter of fact, if you go to Madison Square Garden, there's some events, they will not take cash. They'll only take your credit card. So we're moving in that direction is all I'm saying. I don't know what the answer is, but we're moving in that direction.
Yeah, I think it's because, well, there are so many reasons why the target for robbery. For example, what I do, we don't take cash from anyone at all. And I prefer that because I feel less threatened driving around. People know that you are driving around with cash, then you have to be more careful because you're going to be a target. So with that, I feel much safer. I don't know if you heard what happened to, was it Will Austin's church a couple years ago when they robbed the church and they got thousands of dollars in cash. Had they known there was no cash there, that would not be a target. So there's good and there's bad in all of that. So when the time comes, you know, we get there. So I want to go ahead.
But if you're protecting your assets, by using a credit card, you're spending more than actually what anything you buy costs. So for that reason, places that I go to, I use cash. They have the signs up, you're going to be paying 4% more than what the total is because you're using a credit card. So for there, I'll pull out cash. So you're not really protecting what you owe by using your card all the time.
Right, and we're not saying that we do. Like my sister said over there, that if you use our cards, you're going to pay up before it incurs an interest.
I'm not talking about like you go to Macy's and you're buying something because you don't have the cash right there. I'm saying if you go to some stores, the sign says if you pay with a card, you're paying 4% more. And for those places that have that sign up there, I pay with cash. When you go to a department store or something like that, you're planning to, you have the month to pay it off before you pay any interest. So that's not immediate charge of using that card.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Saying that it's the transaction fee that she was talking about when using the credit card.
Okay, all right. So I want to look at another dimension of protecting what you own, and that is, so I think someone mentioned about insurance on a home, but there's also what you call loan insurance. Yeah. Right, and sometimes you're not asked to. For example, your mortgage, you can volunteer to take out an insurance on your mortgage, which means that if anything happens, everything will be cleared off. So those are stuff that you can protect in terms of a loan, a mortgage, and whatever else you borrow, you can take out protection for those.
Does that apply to student loans?
Yeah, you can take out
student loans.
Yeah, you can take out insurance on the borrower to make sure that if anything happens, all of that will be cleared off. The other thing I want to look at is protect those who you love. How do you do that? How do you protect those you love? Huh? Okay. Life insurance.
You want to speak?
Okay.
Careful of what? Careful of what?
Explain.
Yeah, careful of what?
If you're going to take out life insurance on your family members, you have to make sure that family member is somebody that you can trust. Okay.
I mean, the life insurance is for your children. I mean, for me, I think if you have children like, minors, let's say you have children 4 or 5 years old, and if anything happened to you, so whatever money that you put in the life insurance, if something happened to you, so your spouse or whoever is going to take care of the kids can get this money, to take care of it at the early age. When they get big, it's a different thing. You don't need it anymore. But if you have young kids, you need to have it. just in case, because life is not promised. The next five minutes is not ours. We don't know what's going to happen. So it's important.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the answer. You know, I know a lot of people are very, very skeptical and very scared of taking out life insurance. You know, and love one thinking that if somebody know they're gonna bump them off. You know, I think those are movie stuff. um, you know, when I started in insurance, I'm 15 years with New York Life now. And I spent like a good 7 years working in Jamaica at a life insurance company. When I got into life insurance, I didn't go in there to stay at all. I just go in there to, you know, make some money to get out. But something happened, and I decided I have to stay. My first death claim was for a single mom who bought a policy. 6 months later, she died. She left 2 children who were minor. 114, 1 8. Not a cent was in her name. As a matter of fact, a cent. He had not a dollar, not a cent in her name. As a matter of fact, when he died at the hospital said that they're not going to release any death certificate until the money the cost that was incurred by her there is paid off. And therefore, the body stayed there for a while. No, I was the agent, and I had to write a letter to to my company that was then Mutual Life. Explain the situation, and they said we need a death certificate to at least pay the money. The hospital says we are not releasing anything until he gets some money. I lobbied with the company, and they decided to part pay the claim. Part pay the claim, they got the death certificate. She was transferred to a funeral home who wanted down payment, or else they're not going to accept the body. I'm telling you, not a cent, no family member, nobody turned up in anything for her. And I had to again write another letter to the funeral home committing to them that I'm personally responsible for the payment. You know, I'm saying this to say that touched me so much, and I realized that there's a need out there. And the other part of the story is that no family member was willing to take children, the 2 minor. And I probably can understand they were actually not fully able to take care of their family themselves financially. Take on 2 more was a burden on them. They only took those 2 children when they realized that there was something in place. You know, and I said, listen, I have to stay because there's a need in our community for people to know that this thing is important. It is very important. Despite what anybody want to say, it is very important. And again, when I walk into a home and I see young children and a young family making enough to get by, and there's nothing that they can save, my heart goes out because I know that if something happens, it's going to be a financial disaster for that family. And again, we might look at it as the fact that I cannot afford it and I am not going to do that. But if you look at it from the perspective of loving and caring for your loved one and wanting to protect them, because the reason why you work is because you want the best for them. And now the question should be, what if I'm not around? What guarantee do I have to make sure that the life I want for them will continue? This is a question that we need to ask. And then you'll be propelled to do something to make sure that these people or these individuals who you love will be protected financially. You know, I could play stories upon stories. I remember, as we were talking about protecting those we love, I remember one of my colleagues told me that a young lady walked into his office and she was a referral. She came and said, I want this particular product. The guy says, listen, not because she has that product, that's the product that suits you best. And the guy talked her into getting something else. So she got something else. Then she called back months later and said, I want to cancel that. The guy said, no, I'm not going to let you cancel this. So the guy forced her to keep it. Then the friend that referred her called the guy about 2 minutes later and said, when last have you spoken to Sylvia? Said, I haven't spoken to her in a while. So you need to call her. When he called her, she was in the hospital with breast cancer. She died. She died less than 2 years after the policy was in place. So because of that, they had to go through the contestable period where they have to do their probing. And the guy told me that the Friday evening, they called him and said the claim is ready. And he said he went home. He drove home crying. He cried straight home, and his wife asked him what happened. He said he was so happy that he talked her into keeping the policy for $900,000. And he said he went to the funeral. When he went to the funeral, he was a 9-year-old little girl. And he said that statement touched him so much. The little girl walked up to him and said, Mr. Boy, thank you for what you put in place for us. I am going to become a doctor from that money. You know, that was so touching. And at least the little girl now have hope that even though her mother is gone, there is something there that she can use to get an education. There's some of the things that protecting your loved one, those whom you love, does.
Example that the parent told the kid who she can go to and what was provided and put in place for her. Because a number of times, even the family that take the child, they would be using that money on their own self and their own whatever and take advantage of that child.
Okay? And you know what? I agree with you, but it's not so easy these days because if there's money left for a minor, especially if the money is left in the name of the minor, there are strict rules by the government as to how that money is spent. You have to provide receipts to prove that the money was spent on the minor. It's not so easy. And if that child ever become an adult and found out that there was money to be spent on them, they can take the custodian to court. And the custodian will have to provide all that money back. So it's not so easy. It's not so easy anymore to do that. All right, so any question on protecting those who you love?
So, for what she said, for you to prevent that, that's why you have to have a lawyer too. You have to have a state lawyer. They will tell you exactly what to do. Write things, and they write things down for you. How you want the money to be spent. How your kid's supposed to get the money. Like that, the money will be protected. Nobody going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, very good. I have a client right now who's a daughter who is probably, I think she's 14 now, but the grandmother left some money for her, and the mother is trying to get it to spend on her. She's going to the court, and the court is not allowing it. To provide all kind of proof how the money is going to be spent, and they want to look at if the investment is a prudent choice. They look at all of those, and they guide you to make sure that the money is spent on the child, or if you're going to put it away for the child, they make sure that the money is put away into a safe investment. So there are strict rules around that. It's not so easy anymore. All right, so we're going to move on to prepare for the future. And we're going to be looking at major purchases first. And you probably touched on some of those already. What are some of the major purchases that you do in your life?
A home,
A home, a car,
education,
education, of course. Of course.
A wedding.
Okay. I see you're thinking, a wedding.
Funeral.
Huh? You do that.
Funeral.
Funeral, a funeral.
You do that, right? Okay. I mean, well, yes, and we can probably stretch it out to all of the stuff that's gonna cost some big bucks. Stuff that
Or having a family.
are having a family, stuff that is gonna, you know, call for more than just a mere budgeting. Stuff that you have to plan for. You have to make wise choices in making those kind of purchases. And I mean, and whenever you're making those purchases, what are some of the things that you need to look at? If you're buying a car, what are some of the things that you need to look at? Major purchases.
Leases or buying? What are you going to lease or you're going to buy?
Buy. We're talking about purchases.
Monthly payment, the insurance, the maintenance?
There's a lot that goes with that. They look at affordability first. All right. If it's at a car, you're gonna look at, huh? Oh my. All right. I'm sorry. If it's not a car, say it's a home. What are some of the things that you're gonna be looking at when you're purchasing a home? Property taxes.
Property tax?
You're gonna look at the area that you're gonna buy the house in. If you're gonna buy in an area where the value is gonna be
Going
depreciating
up.
very fast, or the value is gonna be accumulating, and that is just like if you're gonna buy a car, there are some individuals who say that I'll never buy a new car, a brand new car. Why?
Because it depreciates in one day.
It depreciates the time you drove off
Yeah.
the lot. Because you
Soon
drove
as
off, it's no longer a new car, it's a used
It
car.
goes,
Okay?
yes.
So again, when you're making these purchases, you have to think about it. Why? So don't think about it because in the sense that it's good and it's flashy and it's what I want. We're talking about basic financial sense. All right, you have to make sure that you make wise purchases. You're making major purchases.
So what does a wise purchase look like? Like, can you explain that a little bit more?
Anybody else?
Like if I'm trying to buy a house, what would a wise purchase look like? Like, what things do I have to look for?
I think
She just said, here, give it to me. Here.
He just told you the area in which you're purchasing the house. Is it going up in value, the area, or is it going down in value? If you have children, is it near the school where now you don't have to pay a bus service to somebody to take your children back? Is it a good school district? Are you buying at night where you don't know what happens in the daytime, and in the daytime the party comes out and boom, you're stuck with whatever is happening out there? So that helps.
You also look at the quality of the home, the foundation of the house, and to make sure that there aren't water going down to the basement, because that's another expense in you. Look at the quality of the roof, because you want to know that, do I have to put a new roof as soon as I buy this house? And if you're prepared to do that, then you negotiate for the price, for the lower price, so that the money that you'll be putting into the roof would be paid to you back, or you have money left to do that. It's a number of things that you have to look into when coming into purchasing a house. The location, is the uprise of that location. It's a number of things. But do your homework, sit down, pray, ask God for wisdom, and to understand it's a number of things.
Okay, to find out the crime rate in the area. Yeah.
It's also okay not to make your first home your dream home. You can buy a starter home, not the biggest home you've ever imagined with all the bells and whistles. Start small with something you can actually manage. You've got to have an emergency fund because something is going to go wrong that's going to cost you more money than you can just pull out of this week's paycheck. So, you know, again, you may dream of the 4-bedroom house, but maybe it's just you. So 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom is fine. It will get you started. And then, you know, you ask the Lord to help you grow from there. Growing is a good thing.
You're actually explaining the pyramid that's up there. Set the foundation, proper foundation.
I just wanted to add, in terms of the interest rate, so you have to make sure your credit score is, oh, you mentioned it? Okay.
No, go ahead. I'm just.
Yeah, your credit score is good so that you can get the best rate possible. And then because the interest rate also matters. And you have to look into the property tax because you have to figure that into the mortgage as well.
Yes, because the property might be cheap in the area, but the taxes might be ridiculously high. So you have to look at all of those stuff that's going to affect the purchases in the future. Repairs, property tax, all of those things. Crime rate, that's going to cause the house to devalue. And so the point is that a cheaper house in an area, in a certain area might not be a wise purchase.
Because I'm
okay? Probably a more costly house in another area might be a better purchase. So not because it is cheap, it's the best.
Okay. Can I jump ahead a little bit? I'm not sure whether I'll be on the program tomorrow. I'm not sure if you could or not, but I'm asking it anyhow. What are the best way of savings and interest rate at this time?
Didn't want to get back yet. I'm sorry, I just don't want to jump in that. That is a whole.
See, I knew it was.
Whole, like a whole lot of ins and outs, whole lot of products that I have to get, whole lot of stuff that I have to get in. And I have some stuff here, but I wanted to do it tomorrow on Zoom because I have so please be there. Because I really have some stuff for tomorrow that I don't want to get into. Today, I just want to give some basic foundation, and then we launch out into other areas.
We'll give you that information afterwards. I'll give it to you. No problem. Before you move on, Brother Linval, questions about first homes, either a rental property versus a property where it's just for you. So sometimes a rental property will assist in paying for the mortgage. And with that being the case, yes, someone's living with you, but they do assist in paying the mortgage, and it will possibly help you to save more because all of your funds are not going toward the mortgage per se. So that's an option.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And that's based on the quality of life.
Okay.
Because sometimes it is nice to have somebody there to offset the rent. But you're coming home to hell. And so you don't come home until you know that party is asleep. And then you can come home. So that's dependent on the quality of life and what's more important to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so go ahead.
I just wanted to know, besides buying a used vehicle, what are some other things that we can look for to make sure we're getting the best out of the car that we want to buy?
Okay, great question. So you want to look at durability. You want to look at maintenance costs. You want to look at resale value. I think those are key things to look for just buying a car generally beside a used car. You're going to look at durability, you're going to look at maintenance costs, you're going to look at resale value. Recently, it was announced that Toyota have 10 vehicles in the top sale, resale value cars and durability. Toyota has 10 of their vehicles in the category of durability, resale value, and maintenance. 10 of their vehicles. The next in line was Honda vehicle.
Honda, yeah.
Honda.
Hmm.
And so again, you need to know those. I know a lot of people love, like luxurious cars, but if you're gonna be starting out, want to make sound financial, you need to do your homework as it relates to durability and maintenance cost of the car you're going to be purchasing and the resale value, because you want to make sure that when you are selling your car, you still can get back good amount of money from it. There are some cars that has no resale value, period. There are some cars, some models that has no resale value, period. I mean, they look good, but the maintenance might even a little bit cheaper, but you go into the shop for off because they're not durable. Anybody car? I don't know if anybody anyone drives a car.
There are some, and there are many.
I
But
don't want to mention cars
but
because
he, Brother Linval already told you where to start. So if he told you where to start, then don't go down below that.
I don't want to mention Sylvia's car and then she's upset with me.
Yeah, please don't mention my car. No.
I don't want to call any
But
names. No
Toyota
names.
is definitely
But just
the
look at
brand. The
All
brand.
those things look for durability, maintenance cost, and resale value. Those are key things to look for.
Also, if you're going to buy a car, you should know where you're going to park it. And if you're living in a place where every day you work up and the glass is on the ground, you shouldn't buy a car unless you're planning to put it in a garage and have that expense.
Okay.
But you should know where you're going to park that vehicle.
Okay. No, he was before you.
You know what I want to say for the young people that are here? These things they call credit is very important. You know, people just play with it like nothing. Everything I've ever, possessed in this country, I get it, through credit. Because I don't even have good credit, I have excellent credit. I was paying what's my interest for the house? 3.75% I've been paying because I have excellent credit. When you maintain your credit, it opens doors for you. And then if you don't do things that you cannot afford, us, we have this tendency to go above, what we can afford. If we're earning $5, you want to go and get $50, things. And when we know we cannot afford it, we don't have a place to stay, we're buying those purse for, $1,000. That's foolishness. That's how I call it. I'm sorry if I say it, plain. You got to be smart and wise. Protect your credit, and it opens doors for you.
So you're saying living below means should be, how we live with our money?
Live within your budget. Live within your budget.
Question. I'm a 40-year-old individual. 40.
Hypothetically.
Yes. I have 2 or 3 young people in middle school and high school. I'm making a relatively good salary. But I'm concerned that tomorrow morning that I will go out and fall on the sidewalk and I will not be able to work after that. How can I protect my family apart from insurance, life insurance, for myself? Because I'm not going to die, I'm going to be disabled. So how can I protect my family?
All right. So, and I was gonna get there tomorrow. Just like I said, I wanted to get into ways, tangible ways concept now, but I think into the question, since you asked a question, and I know you asked a question similar to that when I said tomorrow, so should I delay him too? Okay. But again, let me just say this briefly. There is disability insurance, and it's wonderful. It's disability insurance that you are allowed to get. The only downfall with that is that you cannot protect more than 60% of your annual income. The government will not allow you to protect more than that. And the reason is you get this, when you're on disability, the income that you get is tax-free. Right? Tax-free income when you're on disability. So they want you to go back to work. They want you to just get by. Go back to work so that they can get their tax from the other 40% that you would earn. So they're saying that we're just going to give you enough that you get by. And there are people who come to me and said, can I get one over here and one over there? Makes no sense. Anybody tell you that? They're tricking you. Because you can get two, but they both have to add up to 60% of your salary. You get 30% from one and 30% from the other one. But if you get 70%, you're not going to be paid on 10% of what you bought.
Question. As a single person in my 70s, am I allowed to get disabled insurance?
Disability insurance?
Yes.
It depends on the company. Some company will not go over a certain age. And at 70, I think, no, you'd have to get it before 70. But you can have it for as long as you live, because you can get a disability that pays you for life. You can get one that pays you for 5 years, for 6 years, for whatever. Or you can get one that pays you for lifetime. So you can have it while you're 70, but you have to get it before a certain age. You can still have it while you're 70.
Oh, okay.
You have to get it for a certain age.
So for me, I'm out.
I'll check it out to see, because companies kind of vary in terms of what they do for their product. Okay. All right, so that answers your question, sir? All right, so I think my sister mentioned something down here about emergency. And we're going to be talking about what are some of the emergencies that you might have in life that you need to prepare for? Just mention one, disability.
Medical, yes, medical.
But again, repairs on a home if you own property. All right?
Repairs, yes.
Car repair, whatever repairs, those are emergent. Those are things that you probably do not have in your budget. But it is recommended, though, that you put away 6 months of income in case you have things that you need to take care of, you cannot work. Or if you can work, you need that for emergency fund. Put away 6 months of your income. That is what is recommended.
6 months of your monthly income. Your monthly income.
6 months income.
Right. So
6 months income.
Okay, 6 months income. So is that in a checking or a saving?
Okay. So you want what do you think if you have an emergency? Do you want to wait 2 weeks or 2 months to get your money? You want it to be very liquid.
I would put it in a regular savings, not a fixed savings, so that it's making a little interest, and yet it's available for when I need it.
Okay.
I could be wrong, I'm not sure.
You're right. Emergency funds should be readily accessible. You should be able to put your hands on it tomorrow or today if you want it. You can't put it in a CD. It's the lock. You cannot put it in assets. It has to be in cash that is readily accessible. That's why it's called emergency fund.
Emergency fund is sometimes under the bed.
Huh? Like, who mentioned? Oh, like, who mentioned? Who mentioned? Oh, she left. Okay. And yeah. But
When you say 6 months, are you talking about gross or what you actually bring home? Gross or net? He's answering my question because he has a mic. So can I? Here.
6 months income, you decide if you want to put away gross or net. It's going to be an individual choice if you want to put away from your gross or from your net. It's a hard and fast rule where it comes from, but it is recommended that you have 6 months' income tucked away someplace that is readily accessible.
I wanted to ask you a question. You said you protect those that you love, right? But nobody mentioned protecting the amount that we give as tithe.
I have that.
Okay, I just wanted to know because nobody mentioned from this audience.
Because I mean, I have that. I have that right here. I have that right here. Talk about. Have that right.
Sister Carrington, for me, the first thing that comes out is, so when I'm talking, I'm not talking about my tithes and offering because that's out of it. I am talking about just what is left.
Okay. Great. All right. So we talk about taking care of some emergencies. So we talk about health. We talk about repairs. You know, we probably talk about what about gifting? I mean, like things come up in the church and you need to support it. You know, so we those are emergencies that we need to have some funds tucked away for. Go ahead.
If you can touch on this briefly, this is kind of what you mentioned when you were talking about for the future funds, but what tips do you have for people who are interested in like starting a family soon? Like what are some choices they could make financially that would help them to just navigate that new journey wisely?
Okay. Anyone want to answer first?
One of the words was planning. Yep. So if you know that you're going down this journey, then you need to sit down and start planning. And that involves a list. That involves in talking to people who have already been down that journey that might advise you and give you thoughts that you would never think of. You know, planning for children. So you're getting married doesn't mean that then the next day after your honeymoon, then you come home with a baby. You plan 2 or 3 years. You know, find out if you can really live with this person.
Okay.
And stuff like that. You have to plan.
Great.
And prepare.
And what is the plan? I guess you want some practical thing. You want to know if you're planning a family. You want to make sure before you could do whatever you make sure that you have a career or something that will help you earn, because you're going to need finance the family. If you're planning for a family, make sure that you know where an income is going to come from. And that's a part. Okay? Make sure that whoever you're dating, whoever you're going to be planning a family with, you know where the income is going to come from for both parties. Do not jump into a family not knowing how it's going to be financed. It's going to be a welfare situation or a church situation that you, those kind of things. So it is encouraged to make sure that first and foremost, family costs money. You want to make sure that you know how the family is going to be. First thing you think about. If you don't have a career, you need to do that before you get into a family, because it's harder to juggle a career and a family. It's too stressful. And some of those can or could be avoided if, you know, proper plans were put in place. Other thing too is that, you know, if you're gonna have children, you want to decide where you're gonna live, because you're gonna be thinking about food and proper food and feeding. That if you're thinking about a family, you actually have the foundation of your plan. Anyone, any other suggestions?
Daycare. The cost of daycare is really very expensive.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have children, you may have a family member that can take care of your child, but you're still going to have to give them something to do that. But until they're school age, that is exorbitant. And then sometimes You might choose to put your child into private school. That's a choice. And if you make that choice, you have to prepare for that choice. Prepare, plan, pray. Okay? So that is a choice. And it's totally fine, but it's not recommended that you do that and then the basics of the family structure are being sacrificed for it. But some people do make that sacrifice. And a lot of people say that things that you really want, if you don't sacrifice for them, you don't appreciate them as well. But there is something that has to be done. You have to find a way. And sometimes it hurts at the beginning, but then you make a way because hopefully your income does increase over time. But unfortunately, everything increases over time as far as expenses.
You know, and if I may add, is that you plan for your kid. Plan the amount. Don't let this happen. Because some people really take the biblical, well, I don't know, to have your quiver full. Okay? Some people might take that very literal and don't plan. If you don't plan for your children based on your affordability, then you're going to run it. So just plan for those stuff. Okay? Go ahead.
So consider where you're living. The space that you have now that may be fine for the newborn may not work in 2 years when that child is literally everywhere.
Right.
All right? And you know, that's in addition to the neighborhood. I'm actually talking about the literal home that you're in terms of safety and space. And having a reliable vehicle. Also important. So, you know, as everybody's been saying, it's thinking about all of these things and planning and ensuring that you're ready for that, plus the unexpected expenses that come along with having children, things you haven't thought about. Daycare was mentioned. Please, 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 please don't assume that your mother is going to take care of your children. I've seen so many grandmothers over the years who've you know, happily retired and enjoying their lives, and then all of a sudden, they've become the automatic babysitter for the family. And I mean, I even had a patient once. She was excited because her daughter and son-in-law invited her to go along with them for vacation, and I let her talk and talk and talk, and she finally realized the only reason they invited her along was because she was what? The built-in babysitter. All right? And a lot of guilt is sometimes put on the grandparents. Oh, these are your grandchildren. That's right. But, you know, if you're having children, you've got to figure out how to pay for daycare for your children. And if your parents are kind enough, or an aunt or somebody's kind enough to do it, they still need to be paid.
Of course, you know, and I have known a situation where son filed for the mother in Jamaica. Mother came up and wanted to have her own life. He was told, I brought you here to take care of my kid, which is sad. I brought you here to take care of my kid, not to go work and have a life. You know, and those things happen. So, plan. Huh? Well, she actually moved out and lived somewhere else now. She didn't go back home, but she moved out when she could possibly move out. She moved out because she has to depend on help. Help from subsidy. Now,
That is so true.
Not before, because that was a sad thing to do. Just say, I brought you to take care of my kid.
Another suggestion that I have, maybe nobody here is as old as I am, but one of the things that I have decided, because my grandparents, I grew up with my grandparents, and they were wealthy, but they never shared their wealth with me. And I had deserved it, but I have learned I took a page from their book, and I have decided, I have children, I have grandchildren, and I have my first great-grand. And I took a page, I sat down, for some reason, it dawned on me, but why didn't your parents or your grandparents give you a start? Just a little start. And my start was maybe $500, right? And I decided, well, why don't you take a page from their book and you do the opposite? So I'm just saying, for those of us that have a little and we have children or grandchildren, we could give them a start and say, you can't touch that until XY, but you could open a savings or buy a stock or buy a bond and put it on the name, and so that that would come later on for their education or something.
I'm going right there, education. And as you mentioned that, give them a start. Do you know that that's also tax deduction? Do you know that's a tax deduction?
Tax deduction.
Yes. If when you, okay, so you can give as a single gift to a child 13,500 every year.
13,000.
13,500 every year, and that is the tax and the deduction from the tax. If you're married, you can give twice that because each parent can give that, and it's a write-off. And a child, and you can do. No, a child. You can give it to a child. You can gift it to a child, to a minor. Not any. Yeah, you can gift that to a child. And I know these rich guys do that every year to move money from their estate. They do it every year, and they put it in funds that in product that taxable again. So move it out, and they put it somewhere else, and that's a deduction for them. And every year they would use that amount to, to the state.
So that's as many minors that you can do that.
You can spread it out.
Spread it out.
You have a limit, though.
Okay.
13.5.
13.5 is the max. But
if it's two, if you're married, you can give 27.
right. So I'm saying, how many children can you do that?
You can do whatever. You can spread it out, but max 35.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know. They didn't tell me the minimum. That's what the max you can give.
I'm not a millionaire, so I can't give 13.5.
No, so whatever you
But
give, whatever you give,
whatever you give is tax. But okay,
yeah,
that's what I want.
But the max
Okay.
is 13.5. They didn't set the minimum. they set the max.
So you know how many people give funds to children and didn't even realize that that was the case.
You can give that. You can give that.
Thank
to
you.
the child. No, it can be a child, and it can be just like you give to charity, and it's a write-off.
The question was, can you give to any child?
You
It
can.
doesn't have to be your child.
No, you can. Just like we give to any charity of his choice.
Oh, wow.
And it's a write-off. Under the age of 18 or any age? Under the age of 18. It's not under the child.
Nobody make me tell.
But you have to have a receipt for it, right, that you gave? You have to have a receipt, obviously.
Well, if money comes out of anywhere, there's a paper trail.
What?
There's a paper trail, either from a bank or whatever. Or if you give a check, you're gonna have some paper trail.
Like Cash App?
Your cash up 13,000. It's gonna get to the bank, so it's gonna be there in the transaction.
I just want to say that I was brought up by my grandparents, and the most precious gift I ever get from them, especially my grandmother, is love and her prayer, and I'm satisfied with that. So all these parents, they should prepare for their children. My parents did not prepare anything for me.
Okay, and that's why we, and guess what? I had this conversation several times, and sometimes it's not that they didn't want it, but they didn't have it. Right. The means wasn't there for them to do it, and there was nothing in their mind more than just making sure that you're full You're clean. And maybe that's what they could afford. They couldn't afford an educational plan for you. Now that we are educated and probably know better.
Well, my friend is just reminding me, yes, my mother sent me to school. But I was brought up with my grandparents. And I'm just saying, because they were talking about grandparents, I'm saying that the grandparents, yes, they can do their part as grandparents, because I get so much love and prior from my grandparents, and that is what make me who I am today.
Okay.
Amen.
Thank you so much. So we're going to bring, after we're
Talking about giving, it would be prudent for us to lift our offering at this time. We're going to lift our offering at this time and collect your thoughts, because I heard what you said, Sister Walcott. At the time, and I know this, at the time, love and prayer is what they had at the time.
We still have it today too, but we need
Right,
more.
right, exactly. And you supplement that, because we know that love and prayer and action cause things to happen, and faith, etc. So we are looking forward to really taking our legacy and moving it to another place. Because if, in fact, we are being asked by our church to make sacrifices to give for the Lord's work, it has to come from somewhere. And if we plan, maybe we will have those resources to share with the church, with our family, and with our friends as well. And that's the goal, you know, to take what our predecessors have given us, that strong foundation that you were talking about, that we're building upon, and we're taking that, making them proud by going to another level, getting the education, opening businesses, being involved in the community, and then getting these resources and making it grow over time, because that's what we have until the Lord comes, and then taking those resources and passing them along. And I think that's the goal that we would like to have. Amen?
Amen.
I do have something to say. I like that idea, but love and prayer and resources are being passed down, but I feel like parents aren't giving their kids like the wisdom of how to like steward these things. So I think like teaching your kids as well, like the values that you knew, like you may not have had all the wisdom, but at least I think what needs to be passed down as well is what you know best, like of what you steward, you know?
Okay, great.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
and just talking about that, I remember that Sabbath, and we told her that there's some stuff that she took, but live here. You know, you live here, so these stuff are expected. You need to wash the dishes, you need to spread your bed. Those are stuff that you must do. But there are other stuff, because I want to teach her the importance of working and earning. There are other stuff that we're going to ask you to do, and we're going to price it out, and we're going to pay you for that. All right? And things like probably just clean the car, wash
You're
the
paying
car.
for chores, or giving a stipend for chores? Is that
Not
what you're saying?
chores. Chores are stuff that you must do because you live there.
Okay.
All right? You must do that because you live in the house. But you don't have to wash my car.
Okay.
All right? She don't have to clean her mother's shoe. But when she does, we said, okay, these are stuff that we are going to pay you to do.
Okay.
When she do those things, we pay her. And
Yes.
we teach her the importance of taking tithe from that. We want to build that kind of those kind
Character.
of principle in her. Let her know that you work for money.
Yes.
And we said you're going to use this money. We kind of help her to decide. We said you're going to you're going to give your friend a gift. You're going to buy it from that money that we give you. You're going to buy food for your cat. Those are the stuff. You're going to do all of those stuff from your money. So we're going to teaching her that responsibility from early, and that is how we kind of need to grow our children.
Yes.
Let them know that not everything is going to be handed down to them.
Exactly.
There's things that you're going to have to work for in life.
Yes, agreed. Giving them responsibility at an early age. In response, I'm backing up a little bit regarding Sister Carrington. For example, like I brought up that subject regarding my grandparents. My grandparents were very wealthy in the time. And even if they were not giving us money, there was property. We should have had a spot. We should have had a little quarter of an acre of land that we could do, build on that. So, no, they didn't. That was the sad thing. They did not give me a start. My start was all me, hard work, constantly. But I don't have regrets because I have built me. And I was able to share now. I'm able to bring my children. I wasn't able to give my children much, but now my grandchildren, I'm able to give them more. So I'm doing that now while I'm still alive, and I can see how they're using it, how they're benefiting, how they're enriching themselves, and that's a blessing to me.
Thank you. I have a question now. When is a good time to start saving for a child's education?
Saving for their education?
Start saving for a child's education.
I just had my very first great-grandchild, and I started him right there. I did.
How old is this child?
4 months old,
Okay.
and I started him right now. And I've decided every year at his birth date, I would increase a little. And that is a provision that as a great-grandmother, I'm able to do, and I am grateful. Grateful.
Why is it important to start early?
How early? How early?
Early.
I mean, I've done stuff for kids before they're,
Yeah,
your age, like their month, or
Brother Horsford.
once the Social Security is in place, we encourage that you start, and the reason is that you have more time to save. You don't have to be pressured to put a lot that you don't have. I've seen people come to me asking me to put up education fund for their child who is 12-year-old for college. What amount are you planning to put in to make sure that there is substantial amount of money there to take the child through college, or to sensibly subsidize the college fees? In child goes to college maybe like when they're 16, 4 years. What are you going to put into an education fund to make sure that you have money for education? So we encourage people to start doing that as early as possible. As early as possible.
Have you seen the amount that it costs for a college education?
I know.
On average, how much is it? State, private?
It all depends.
It depends on which
On
college
average.
you go to.
Huh? 30. 40.
40,000?
30, between 30 and 40 for an average college a year.
That's a year.
And it depends on where you go.
Right, true that, but
There's some that is like 25,000 a semester.
Go to,
Like that you're thinking
state
about.
college.
state versus private, but in any case,
Yes,
it costs
again, it
quite a
depends.
bit.
Again, it depends on where you
Go to
go,
state
what area.
college. Once you get,
Huh? There are, but guess what? You don't want to plan your child life depending on that. What if they don't get it?
right?
Because your income too is going to be a factor. What if you're a high earner? You're not going to get that aid at all. So you want to plan. Plan, not thinking about what they might get. If you plan and they get it, then the money's yours. The money is yours, it's not going anywhere.
And I think oftentimes when you're thinking about college, but as I mentioned before, if the child is in private school, that's a
That's
cost of education
forget
leading
it.
up to college.
Forget
So-
the cost of private.
and then not every child goes to college.
Right.
So, and that's okay, but still you want to save for that, the future. So just make sure, and it's not just the tuition, it's the tuition and board, and the supplies, and what they need in order to live off of, et cetera, and if they need a car. So it does add up.
And I mean, I just want to say this, as she mentioned, that every child go to college. So if you're thinking about the possibility of that happening, your child might not go to college, you want to save for education in a flexible plan. So the plan that are dubbed education plan, like the 529 plan, if money has to be on education, not on a scale. So if the money is not used, you save in those plans, the money is not used, and you take it out. It's going to be taxed as an income to you. So whatever your income bracket is, you're going to be taxed from that money. On anything else.
Are you saying that you don't have to pay taxes on this education plan?
No, you don't have to if it's used in tertiary education. You don't have to. But if you, just to say for example, the child decided, I want to be a mechanic. Send the child to school to learn mechanic. You have to, and you have to pay tax on that money. But there are flexible plans that you can save in that we can get into another time where it's not affected by any so whether the child goes to school or not, goes to college or not, the money tax can be used.
So what's the benefit of the 529?
It's just for education. It's a popular plan that's been around. Just like, just like retirement plan. Most popular plan is what?
401k.
401k. But there are so many other plans around that you can use that probably will benefit you much more than a 401k. The same thing with education plan.
Here.
Yes.
We're just going to pray, take a pause right now and pray for what was collected. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together this evening and to share what we have for the furtherance of your work. We ask that these funds that were collected for AY and their programs be used to your honor and glory. We pray for those who are able to give and those who are not. These and other blessings we ask of thee. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
All right.
My question was if you were going to be touching on like the 401k and those sorts of plans tomorrow.
I'm going to be touching on products tomorrow.
Okay.
Some products that can be used to help you achieve your financial education retirement. Just for investment purposes. I just have some other stuff because I am in the section of building assets now, which I would probably touch on.
Small.
When we're building assets, there's some stuff that we need to bear in mind. We need to think about inflation and think about how we can keep pace with inflation or overpower inflation while we're building for assets. So you don't want to have all your assets in fixed. You don't want to tie up all your assets in say building or real estate. You want to do stuff that will help you keep pace with inflation or overpower inflation. So that's, and the other thing is that you want to diversify to reduce risk.
So what you just said, if someone has a pension per se, and you're getting paid a pension, which is a rarity in many cases, but it's a great thing. Oftentimes people are thinking about pension and Social Security, et cetera. Which, if somebody gets a pension, does that pension necessarily keep pace with inflation? One, that's one question. And Social Security, does Social Security payments keep pace with inflation or increase?
asset building, those are distribution that you're going to get after you reach a certain age. So when your assets are being distributed to you, it depends on where they're coming from, that they are probably keep pace with inflation. So for example, you have annuities. You have fixed and you have variable annuities. So if you have a variable annuity, when it is being distributed to you, it's going to be distributed to you based on the cost of the, of the stock that it's invested in. If you take the lump sum, it's going to be calculated and given to you based on the cost of the stock or whatever it was invested in at that time, because it's not fixed, the variable, so it's in some variable product. If it's fixed, then it's fixed. I mean, it's not, inflation probably, it's at the mercy of inflation. If inflation goes down, then it's okay, but if it's up, then a fixed asset is not going to be keeping pace with
So
inflation.
that's an annuity, but I'm talking about pension and Social Security.
No, but those are not, we don't have, they have no control over.
But a lot of individuals depend on pension and Social Security to live off of, and inflation increases. So
No, but you can, because again, and retirement is a whole other subject. So if you're planning for retirement, you have to look at what you're going to get for Social Security, possibly get a pension. But those are going to be stuff that you're not going to have any control over as it relates to inflation. But your other stuff that you have in your retirement portfolio, you can decide where you're going to put your retirement funds now to ensure that you have a sizable retirement return based on how it keeps pace with inflation while it's being invested.
Okay, so I'm a young person,
Yes, sir.
and I'm looking for
I'm
I'm looking for employment, and I have two job options. And they said, this company, we do not give a pension. We do not have a pension.
Okay.
However, we will contribute to your 401k.
Okay.
And another company says, okay, we will give you a nice salary, and we also have a pension plan, which you can join, which would be more advantageous to me as a young employee with a growing family.
Anybody want to?
You know, like I work for the city. If you have a pension plan, it's better for you. Because when you retire, depends on whatever you were earning. Sometimes you get even more than what you were earning because, the money build up, stuff like that. But if it's you don't have, if your job doesn't offer the pension plan, it would be wise for you to get something. Because you're not going to stay young at all times. Eventually you have to retire. But the best option is when you have a pension, that they offer. Like the city offer that, and it's very good, what the city has. Or the state too. The state has a good one too, right? Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, very good question. So, a pension is something that's given to you.
Yeah, your country, yeah.
Which pension? Which of them? Because I work for my company, I know your pension, you don't make contribution to your pension, but they have what you call a 401k alongside that you can contribute to. Are you?
When you work for the city of New York and the state of New York, it's the only pension I think now in the country where it's a contributory program that it serves you to the rest of your life. If you're in the pension plan, they also pay your health care. The 20% that Medicare does not cover, the employer continues to cover that. So as long as you live, you will get the pension. And it also has a cost of living adjustment.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, 'cause
And the good part about that is you can still join their 401k program. So you have the pension and you're saving on the 401k versus a company now, I know like your company, DNS, they do not give you a pension, but they give you a lump sum at the end of your tenure. And whatsoever you do with that, it's up to you. So if you made a bad investment, that's the end of your money. If you made good investment, you can keep up with everything else. So as a young person deciding which company should I work for, you have to look at those things also.
Let me just add also, when you work for the city, what they do also, they calculate the pension like based on your last, earning, the highest, earning. So like if they just give a raise like 150, like let's say you're making 150,000 and then you get like a raise 200 and you spend like 3 years, so that's what they're going to use, the last, highest earning. And that's what they use to calculate your pension. So you come out very nice, I'm not there yet, but I'm hoping one day, soon. It's yeah.
I'm not sure though. I'm not sure though, because I know that most companies, and I have to check that out, because my company and there are other companies that is making offers to me, and the pension I don't contribute to period. They will take 6% of whatever I earn. They don't take it out and put in my pension. Every month they take 6% of whatever I earn and put in my pension. I don't make contribution to that. But the 401k is open for me to make contribution to if I want. Huh? The 401k? Do they match? Yes, they have, yeah, they do. And they have some for me. I don't have to take the match, I don't have to match, but still there for me. They put that in my 401k and I can match it up to whatever percentage that they offer the match. But there is something that is put in there also from them. And I don't have to if I don't want, but there's also pension that I don't have anything to do with except my earnings. That I don't put a cent in there. And I know, so I didn't know that the government actually, city actually, you have to contribute to your pension. That part. All right, so,
Somebody else wanted to answer the question.
A city employee that's in the pension plan will pay into the pension for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then after that, the city handle the rest of it.
Yeah, they just.
Because, okay, and what's the vesting period? What's the vesting period?
It's 10 years, right?
No,
10
the
years?
vesting period. It
Oh,
has
the-
to be there for a period of time before they actually
The vesting period is 5 years, but you're contributing to it until like 10 years.
So
Yeah.
they're vested yet.
Yeah.
So after the 5 years, that's when
Yeah.
the pension kind of kicks in.
Yeah.
But, well,
Like you mentioned 401k, like for us, like we have something they call TDA, tax deferred annuity. When you work for the city, you can join it, When you join this money, they take like before they tax your paycheck. And this money stay there for you. Nobody does anything, you just go. I think it was Prudential, now it's with Empower, something like that. This money stay there. When you're ready to retire, then you can either take the whole money, a lump sum of money, of course that they will tax it, tax, you can get away with tax. Or you can just choose, to get it like monthly. But if you do that, it's not good. Because if anything happened to you, the government take it unless you have minors.
Yeah. And the other thing too, as you mentioned 401k, I know we're probably closing up now. There's also the Roth IRA, which is another type of 401k that you can put your money into. That one is the government will allow you. I think this 2024, if you're 50, you can put up to 7,000 in there that you don't have to pay taxes on. If you're above 50, you can put 8,000 in there. That's what a Roth, different from the traditional 401k or traditional IRA. So most people will was doing a retirement seminar to tell you what you need to do in terms of making sure that your money moves from taxable bucket to a non-taxable bucket only, as much as possible. Because you mentioned, the 401k that you contribute to, the TDA, what's going to happen is that when you take the money out when you retire, you're going to pay taxes on all of those funds that you put in there. And that is why I will encourage individuals that you work for a company, take up to the match, okay? Do not overfund it, because you're setting up yourself for high taxes later on. If you have other money, try to find a vehicle that you can put it into that you don't pay tax when you retire. You just overfund your 401k and they're going to pay tax on everything. You're not paying now because it's deferred to investing out. But the sensible thing to do, the smart thing to do is to take the match, take the free money, and if you have excess money for retirement, put it elsewhere. Put it somewhere where you don't. There are a lot of things that they can put it that don't pay tax when you retire. All right, I guess there's a lot that we covered, and we still have a lot more that we could cover. We touched on diversification a little bit. We touched on overpowering inflation. We touched on, about contribution to the 401k. You need to maximize the contribution and say take the match, but look around for other vehicles that you put your money that don't pay tax on when you retire. Because they're out there.
So this is the thing where you hear a lot about 401k programs and putting all your funds into 401k. And then we realize that those programs, that vehicle is based a lot on the market. And then if that's the only vehicle that individuals are using as a quote unquote way of retirement, that would you consider that to be wise?
If you remember what happened in 2008, you'll probably know the answer. In 2008, a lot of individuals could not retire. Well, they could retire, but they retire without money. Because I spoke to a gentleman in my office, when it was like Thursday, and he said to me, he has never seen $1 million go so fast from his retirement account or from his investment. He said it was just wiped out in a couple of days because of what was happening in 2008. So and this is why I said the older you get, you need to probably secure retirement, put it into a safe vehicle, because you should have already made your money on your retirement, post-retirement. You should have taken all the risks before and bounced back so that you can move your money away from or from the fluctuation of the market. No. Therefore, the government, and two things to it. I should say this. The government.
Could you repeat her question? Repeat her question.
She said the Roth IRA, you're not going to pay tax from it. No. The government allow you to pay into your Roth with after-tax dollar. The traditional one, you pay into it before tax. So what happened is that money that you put in is going to be taxed later on. It's what I call a TA, tax deferred annuity. That's what it means. So you're going to pay tax on that money that you put in there, plus whatever is gained on the money. So we always say, what do you prefer? Some people say, I want to defer my tax. Which is not so much the best and popular idea, because you're going to be paying tax not only on the grain, but on the harvest. Pay the tax now and get everything taxed later on. But the argument that you defer your tax, and people love that because they're not, when they get the money, the check, now they're not paying tax on the part that goes into the 401k, but you're going to pay it later. Huh?
Get the money too for them not to take the taxes for the WAF IRA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after 15 and a half.
After 59 and a half?
I mean, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Good. And the other thing too with the Roth versus the traditional, so say I have a traditional 401k or retirement investment account. And but I have other money that I have that I don't want, and I don't want to touch the traditional. At 72, you're required to take money from it. It's called RMD, required minimum distribution. The government say you must take that money from it, an amount from that, if you don't want it, because they want your tax. If you don't take it, you're going to be taxed 50% of what you should have taken from that retirement account. So you have to work close to your accountant when you reach those age to see where you have your money, and you have to subsidize your retirement vehicle. You don't have to worry about having to take it at 72 and a half. You have to take money for 72 and a half, or it's going to be taxed. 50% of that should have been taken. Because women want their tax.
Okay.
So those stuff. I understand if there's a retirement seminar to go more into all of those stuff, but it's not. I'm just touching surface of some of the things that we need to know. TDA.
Okay.
Which is. Okay. Well, again. They have all kind of names for the IRS. Okay. So if it's anything, what you should look at is if you pay into it with taxable dollars or not taxable dollars. If it's not taxable dollars, it's going to be treated the same way as any taxable retirement account. There's going to be no difference.
Okay, quick.
Huh? No, what I'm saying to you is that there's some broad-based principles that you need to look at as it relates to your retirement saving. If you pay with after tax dollar, then you're okay. Okay. So when you get your salary, you're gonna see all that comes out for taxes. Okay? You're gonna see if you make contribution to 401k, if it's a part of your taxable dollar or if it's not. So you would know what money is taxed before it goes elsewhere. If you get your money in your hand, which is your net, that means everything else is taxed already. Your net pay that you get, you can open a Roth from that because that money is already taxed. So that's your money now. You can open a Roth. And everything else that you get after your net is that the tokens already come out of it. Okay? So after your gross, rather. Your net, the money that you take home, is already taxed.
Right, and everything else we don't get.
You know, well, you wouldn't get that. Those are going to other areas that you arrange them to go to, like a 401k or whatever. Those money are not taxed.
Okay.
Can you explain that, please?
You can elect to have a certain amount of money taken out of your paycheck for your 401k. You can select to match.
No, that's not what she's asking about.
No?
So she's asking about how would she know if her money is taxed, yes or no. So I'm telling her that when she gets her net, when you get your money, when you get your money, for example, $10,000, okay? If you earn $10,000, and after everything comes out, you go home with 4. It means that you already paid all the deductions from that, from your gross. So if you say, I want to do a Roth from the 4, it means that you are paying into that Roth with after-tax dollars. Right. Pay tax, and that's your net. All the taxes come out already.
Okay.
Are we clear on that? Okay.
What? How could she not be clear?
Okay, all right, I'll talk to you later.
Once you already paid in your regular salary. Question. Is that okay?
Last question.
Okay. As I do not, I work off the books, right? So what are your recommendations for me?
In terms of?
Of savings, of any advice that you would give me towards enhancing my monies?
Off your conversation.
Offline.
There's some more questions asked before I can, so we can.
Okay.
Off here. Okay?
Well, this has been quite an interesting discussion, Brother Linval. You certainly had an outline for us to follow, but certainly folks have come here with certain things in mind, or you sparked their interest as far as things that they didn't know they could ask and have knowledge about. So that was great. I want to ensure that I thank you for being here and contributing and participating and really engaging with each other and Brother Linval here. And as we know, this is part one. Part two is via Zoom, so we can get into the meat of a lot of the questions that you had. Yeah, question. I will. 6:30. Okay. At 6:45 on the flyer, I have the information for the Zoom for everyone. It's on the flyer that I sent to you, specifically. Elder, yes, and I'll send it again. 6:45, it will be via Zoom. I am the host, but Linval will be the presenter. We'll have some elders on, and then we're going to make the introductions and get right into the meat of everything. Thank you, Sister Gil, for bringing that right up for me. It is 6:55, so I'm not going to mention all of the passcode, et cetera. I'm going to send that to you individually, and it is on our website as well. So those who are looking at this program, it is on our website, the meeting code and the passcode via Zoom. And we'll be at 6:45 tomorrow evening, that is Sunday. So be aware that there are going to be many individuals on this particular Zoom, many of which are not here presently, and who are going to be looking to get some information that we may have already covered during part one that he's going to touch on briefly, but certainly Brother Linval is going to go into more depth. And so because of that, we ask for your patience. If you hear something again, it may take a different kind of tone, and it may solidify in your mind what you thought that you understood, but now you understand it even clearer because you've heard it for the second time. So we thank you again for being here. We thank Brother Linval for contributing to this part one and sharing his expertise. Can we all stand as we offer a word of prayer? Brother Linval, do you have anything finally that you would like to say? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to participate in this program, and even more importantly, to be here and to worship on your holy Sabbath day. We thank you for all of the things that you have allowed us to learn, to absorb, to be engaged, and to think about how we're going to plan, prepare, and pray about what we need to do as we are here on this earth. We thank you for our presenters and all the participants here, and we ask that everyone here get home safely, and pray for those who weren't able to attend today, and we look forward to being blessed by what we're going to hear tomorrow evening. These and other blessings we ask of thee. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, everyone.